There was a lot of discouragement after the Red Summer when they bombed everything Black and thriving. There was
Right?
so much discouragement because they bombed them, they rebuilt, they bombed them and rebuilt. Now we're at the point where this was on purpose. They were like, let's get to them to a point where they don't even feel like rebuilding anymore. Let's discourage them, kick them while they're down so much to where they don't even feel like, they want to rebuild. And then let's give them a bum ass GI Bill. Let's redline them so now they even have less real estate to build on. So then we get to a point where Biden has a slogan that says build back better or something. We need to build Black better, because now we have such small area to build on, like you were talking about, like credit unions and communities and things like that, but they don't even give us really the resources to put those in our communities, and they'll try anything to keep us from those funds and that allocation of resources to be able to do that. And I think now we're at the point where when we do see a Black business, a lot of times what I think we all can agree on is sometimes when you go in there, they have stank attitudes. So then it deters you from even wanting to support. And then this leads me into, well, I tried it, so I gave it a shot. I'm not going to try it anymore. And this goes beyond the economical, financial realm. This goes into even dating. We tried Black, it didn't work, so we're going to try something else. I don't think like that, and I think that's where pro also, we're teetering on not talking about the dating thing, and I think that's important because I think that your pro is, like I said earlier, your essence, and I think, sure, you can support Black businesses, but where do you go when you go home? And again, there's nothing wrong with choosing, who you date, but how does that define your pro? And I think, like the Black businesses, if you tried it, they had a messed up attitude, and you don't go to that business anymore. There are some more. They might be online, but there are more. So I think that even in dating, we kind of use that as an excuse. We tried it, and it didn't work out, so I'm gonna try something outside of the scope of dating Black. And I think that's another thing that we need to discuss is, are you pro if you might not date in your race, but you happen to support Black businesses? Does that define you as pro?
My argument would be, like, I think you made some valid points, right? But I feel like at the main point, like, if you keep the premise in your mind that you're going to be pro-Black, right? I feel as if with everything, we always try to go into everything's totality. Like, if you're not Black everything, you're not pro-Black, which I don't necessarily agree with. Like, I'm not going to say, when it comes to relationships, at the end of the day, love who you love. But if you have that mindset of you're pro-Black and you're going to advocate for Black community, even when you start to meet struggle or challenges, I don't think that's going to put you in a position where you're deterred from it altogether. Because at the end of the day, I might go to a Black-owned restaurant and their customer service might not be great. Quality of, some of the stuff isn't all, up to par. But at the end of the day, I'm going to see that same stuff at McDonald's. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to see the same stuff at Perkins. I'm going to see all these, regardless of it's Black on, white on, you still going to see levels of lack of customer service. And I feel like that's the same thing in relationships. You're going to still have the same struggles, whether you're with a Black woman, white woman, and so on and so on. So, I think feeding into the, if you feed into that principle in your mind that, at the end of the day, if I'm going to, struggle or push forward, I'm going to push forward with my community. Yes. You know what I'm saying? Yes. I think that's the thing. But at the same time, I don't feel like a person is not pro-Black just because, they're in a interracial relationship, or because, I just feel like, to go into that, it's almost like we're going into that cancel culture because you're not Black everything. And it's like,
I don't think you should cancel somebody for dating outside their race, but I also think you shouldn't get hung up on the title of pro-Black. If you're not, you're not. What do you do with your life that pushes forward your people? If you happen to date somebody that isn't Black, no, to me, you wouldn't be. But that doesn't take away from your value as a person that supports their community. If all you're hung up on is the title of pro-Black, what are you really in it for? Because if you happen to date someone white or Hispanic or whatever, but you do everything else that would support your community, I mean, there's other arguments to be made there as far as why you would support businesses but not maybe try harder dating inside your race. But outside of that, if you do everything else that affords your community the luxury of support, then I think the title of pro-Black is very minimal in the sense.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. I think that you can be all of these other things to all of these other people, but I think that it really shows you. I don't think that you can be pro-Black and be in an interracial relationship. I don't think that now means that you don't support the culture and you're not trying to push it forward. But I think that deserves another word, like maybe like, or maybe another label. And I guess like we get caught up on labels so much, you know what I mean? And maybe we shouldn't, you know, but in this grand scheme of this
I got a question. I don't want to cut you off.
Go
I
ahead.
got a question, right? So would you say that Frederick Douglass isn't pro-Black?
I would say he
Considering
was with a white woman, was he not? No.
Frederick Douglass was married to a white woman. So would you say that he was not pro-Black?
Did he have kids with that white woman?
I can't recall.
I think it does.
Oh yeah, we were just talking about relationships, so I don't know.
I mean, but
how much that matters.
That's part of a relationship too, your lineage. You know what I mean? Like I don't think that. Mm-hmm. So somebody like Frederick Douglass, or like even
he was first married to a Black woman, and then later down the line was married to a white woman.
I think at one point he was.
So
I think he stopped.
Things that Frederick Douglass did for the Black community, you know, all that he's fought for and championed against, right. And then he married this white woman. Is he no longer considered pro-Black? Is what I'm curious what people think about that.
You already know the answer to your question. And as far as what Phil had said, like maybe it's semantics, but I mean, I think the words we're using is relevant. And if you look up the definition of the word pro, it is the advantage or argument in favor of something. So yes, you can be in favor of something, and that's all that means. He's pro-Black because of what he did for Black culture, and his partnership choosing doesn't mean that he's all of a sudden anti-Black. He's still very pro.
I'm not saying that
Frederick Douglass.
I'm not saying that Frederick Douglass was anti-Black and being with a white woman. What I'm saying is that, to me, and I'm not going to put this on anybody else because maybe y'all don't feel the way that I do, you know what I mean? But to me, once he married the white woman, that kind of does that knocks him down from being pro-Black for me to being more like a staunch Black supporter. You know what I mean? And I just don't think that.
Yeah, so he pro.
Let me. In my opinion, as far as you stupid,
you stupid.
That nigga stupid.
I'm not gonna take all these light skin jokes.
No, I'm not. Now, you know, don't do that. Don't do that. You know that's not what's happening. Go ahead, bro.
As far as who you love, the heart wants what it wants. So if you come across somebody in your travels and they just so happen to be of a different ethnicity, you'll be a fool to deny yourself that opportunity at love with that person.
Exactly.
That was just foolish. But on the other hand, if you are a person who chooses not to date within your race specifically, then you are not pro-Black because you're choosing not to.
Correct.
But
it's a concrete decision like that, then yeah.
But if you just so happen to fall in love with a person amongst your travels who is of different ethnicity, like I said, who are you to deny yourself what your heart wants just because of?
So I agree with that. If love was something you just fell into,
it's called falling in love.
But but no, hold on, wait. Before we even finish, before falling in love, you know that the language in terms of falling in love is a farce. That's not what you do. You don't fall in love.
That's a great point.
I fell all the way in there, bro.
No, that's not what happened. No. And you can try and say that is what happened, and you might feel as though that was it, but you didn't just, like, one day you woke up and it was love. What you did is
I don't believe that either.
Consciously you consciously and purposely
you made a decision to love that person.
You made a conscious effort-filled decision to.
I chose the street that I was gonna walk down, and then I fell walking down that street. But for sure, so yeah, I selected. All right, I'm gonna walk this way, and then my ass fell. 100%.
Because at the end of the day, we're talking about a physical attraction, right? Like nobody is like, I fell in love with this person because they had a beautiful heart. You know, I mean,
I gotta know
relationship with this person. Because no, you had a physical attraction that brought you to them, and then you got to know them.
100%.
And then over time, the love was built.
You know what I mean?
And exactly, over time, the love was built. So when people say that they just fell in love with somebody, that's not being truthful.
I agree with you as well. I agree with that.
Yeah, like I so people be like, oh, like dudes would be like, man, I just saw this white girl, like I fell in love with her, or like when women might say, like, I saw this white dude and I fell in love with. That's not what happened. You actually made it a point to give them the things that you knew would facilitate the start of a relationship and then eventually bud into love. So you can't sit up here and tell me that you fell into love. Because
no, you're correct. I pulled up like the Pink Panther on her, but over time I fell in love. 100%.
Well, yes, but then that's what I'm saying is like, so you actively chose to engage in the time necessary to build that love with that.
Build that, yeah, because that's as far as love with me. My when it comes down to like relationships, I feel like you have a physical attraction to a person, and over time you either grow closer to that person or you grow apart. Yeah, that's the simplified explanation of it.
Yeah, so, and there's nuances to that, but yeah, on the base level, Trevell,
that's just what it is. So that's why I said if amongst your travels, because usually a travel takes some time. You don't get somewhere. So amongst your travels, if that so happens to be fostered within your travels, then you'll be a fool to deny yourself of that, is what I'm saying. But if you're a person who is, like I said, if you're against dating within your race, then that's different.
Yeah, and I think go ahead.
I think y'all have to be careful when you say you're not pro-black because you date or you marry outside your race, because all you're doing is turning off a bunch of niggas that will be ride or die with you, because you literally telling them, oh, you can never be on my level. That's the same shit they try to do with gay marriage. Oh, let's not call it gay marriage. Let's call it partnership. Let's call it fucking butt buddies or whatever the fuck they want to call it. But we ain't gonna give the title of marriage. But as soon as one side said, no, we'll call it marriage, them motherfuckers won the election so they can get their fucking marriage. It is what it is.
That's all.
What I'm saying is like,
go ahead.
I don't know who's here, who's married to, or who's married, who's not married, who's dated outside the race, who's currently married to outside the race. But somebody who is married to somebody outside my race, who's not even American, she's Russian.
Right.
I'm gonna tell you like this: if you come to me constantly and say you not black because you coach black kids, you constantly promote black business, or you support your friends who are all fucking black trying to start this shit because you married a white woman, you not black. You are partially black or pseudo black or the fuck. You ain't gonna do nothing but
you semi pro black.
Hold on, wait.
Semi-pro black.
Hold on, wait.
You're not doing nothing but cutting me off. You literally turning my ears deaf. As soon as you say those words, I'm literally ignoring every fucking.
Hold on. So hold on. Listen.
That's a true fuck. That's literally a true fuck. Like he was saying, like I forgot his name, but like he was saying, amongst your travels, you realize I've been in the military since I was 18 years old. Right. My first base in Alaska, ain't no niggas up there. My second base is Germany, ain't no niggas over there. And and right now I'm living in Italy. Ain't no niggas over here. So most of my adult life has been around other races, other cultures. So like he was saying, I would be stupid if I was just like, you know what? I'm staying abstinent until I find me a black woman.
Until they assign me to a base that is predominantly black.
So before I find somebody, before I had kids, I'm gonna start having kids at 40 when I get out of the military. I'll start traveling around the world, seeing fucking everything I can see. Now I'm not exclusively white. I never was exclusively. You knew me in Alaska for 3 years.
Yeah.
The first 90% of the time, what was it? We was out in those streets talking to black women. That's all we was doing, trying to find the ones we couldn't find and talk to them. They wasn't all down either because it wasn't that many. And when I went to church, like, what it is. And I was at the age, of maturity. Well, it's time for me to settle down. So now I start looking at my surroundings. I'm not gonna do that online dating shit. I'm not gonna do this fucking 90-day fiance, travel across the goddamn world, spend 9 days with a person, marry me. I'm not doing that dumb shit. I'm going around my circle, my immediate environment. And at the time, my environment was foreign. Okay. But that doesn't make me not black.
So hold on. Let me give you these couple nuggets. If anybody is saying that you are not black, they are absolutely wrong. I would never say that anybody who is outside, who marries or dates or anything outside of their race is not black. If they're saying you are not black and you do not stand for the black community, that's incorrect, and you should become deaf to them because they are not. In saying that you're not that, what they're really doing is projecting what they are onto you. So you know what I mean? Like, so if anybody says that you are not black, now in terms of what you said, in terms of dating outside your race, and you being not on the same level, I don't think that there's anything wrong with levels to the amount of support that you do. So you have consistently said that you are not the type to go out and search for black businesses to support and things like that. That's your level. You know what I mean? My level is different. I'm not saying that it's above you or that it's more than. I'm just saying that my level is different in the sense that I will go and do that type of stuff. That is just a preferential thing. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to sit up here and be like, oh, like, you ain't shit because you don't search for black businesses and all that. Do I think that you should? Yeah, I do. But again, I know your circumstances. In terms of what we were finding in the environments that we were in, I hear you on that too. The difference is so where I disagree with that is we was both in Alaska at the same time, and I did find a black woman. And then I moved to California, where a majority of the culture out here is a mixed bag. It's not just one culture. Like, there are Mexicans. Like, you can pretty much everybody. You can pretty much close your eyes and point in a crowd, and you will find somebody from a different ethnicity, a different race, a different culture. I made it a point to go out and find a black woman, and I have every chance that I could. You know what I mean? And
so are you saying that to be in an interracial relationship isn't necessarily not pro-black, but it isn't as pro-black as you would prefer?
Because that was literally trying to say the first half of the segment.
Because before we were saying that the thing that was stated was that being in an interracial relationship was not pro-black. And if we were going to extend let's say promote black, right? So from what you're saying is, yes, you can be in an interracial relationship and still promote black, pro-black, right?
Still promote black. But do I think that you're not at the
same level as somebody who has all black family?
I don't look at them the same. I just don't. I don't think that they're the same. Now, I don't think less of
That's cool.
Royce for
even if they do more for the black community than you do, so you win just by having. So back to his Frederick Douglass point, that's, to me, that's top tier. I think Dave Chappelle is extremely goddamn pro-black, right?
And his wife is Asian as hell.
So you telling me right now that if you knew a guy named Tyrone never did anything black business, but he hooked up with black shit. You look at him more.
He's more,
white that's not what I'm saying. No, because you just look at the visual. As soon as you see him, you're like, oh, he's with a white girl.
He pro-black.
He's not on my level.
Oh, no, and y'all are spinning it saying y'all
hold on.
To try and say that
it is kind of being spun. It is being spun.
So hold on. Y'all are trying to spin it to say that I'm saying that all it takes is for you to be in a black relationship.
And then you pro-black. Like, you got to be
pro-black.
No, that's not what he's saying at all. That's not what he's saying. Hold up. Let me ask you this question. If amongst your, because I also am a person who seeks out black women. My baby mother is black. She's dark-skinned, as a matter of fact. So not saying that adds any more points because we're not talking about levels here, but I'm just saying. But if you amongst your travels of trying to find a black woman, if there would have been a woman of a different ethnicity who was for you and was along your side and like was building a relationship, would you have cut that off? Like, would you have stopped that from being a possibility from the beginning just because of their being outside of your race?
No, I'm not saying that I would have, but what I am saying is no, it's not. I'm not saying that if I came across somebody who piqued my interest as a non-black woman, I would not have pursued that interest. What I'm saying is I looked for black women to fulfill my interest. That's what I was.
Yes.
And I think at the end of the day,
I agree with that.
Me, how I look at pro-black, right? I look at it when I told you like whether relationship, like I am looking for that. When it's economics, I am looking for that. When it's education, I am looking to educate. Well, I'm looking to educate black boys before I look to educate white boys.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Not to say that I wouldn't,
right?
Because they educated too on our challenges, struggles, a real Black American history. Like they need that education as well. But I am going to advocate and seek out Black education and Black everything first.
Right. And that's all I was saying is like I made a conscious effort to I'm 3 now, and I don't have any kids. You know what I mean? And I have, not purposely, but like I haven't had any kids yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
that's on purpose.
Yeah, I wasn't the smartest, but like I wasn't doing everything necessary to not have kids. By the grace of God, I just didn't have kids. But yeah. I've been with a Black woman the entire time. And my thing was, and I got this from my mom, because my mom is a dark-skinned Black woman who is unapologetic about her skin tone and what she has went through and what she stands for. And I'm not saying that anybody else who has like the same type of experience is less than because they have went a different way. I'm saying in my experience, my mom taught me and showed me that is what I want in a woman, and not just her mindset and her drive and her determination and her grit and her will, because it was through sheer will that all 3 of her kids are doing well. You know what I mean? It was also, I want a woman who actually looks like her. You know what I mean? Because I felt like that would be similar to the same experience. Now, is Cece the same color as my mom? No, but she doesn't necessarily have to be the same color as my mom for me to recognize that there are so many ways that they are similar in personality and determination and drive and all of those things. And I wanted that in a Black woman. And so that's what I went to. You know what I mean? And if you went outside of that, that's on you. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that, like you're more pro-Black if you in a Black relationship, but you don't support Black businesses. No, I would say that person ain't pro-Black, nor are they a Black supporter. You can be, Tay Diggs is a perfect example of somebody who is enormously Black. He's Black as hell. But he's not Black though. You know what I mean? Just by the way that he acts, the rhetoric that he says, the things that he supports, in the way that he projects himself. He is Black through and through. You can't deny that, but you can tell that he hates himself by the way he portrays himself, by the way he speaks to other people about what he got going on, and the way he speaks to anything else that's going on in the world. You know what I mean? Terry Crews is another one that you can look at and be like, yeah, he doesn't necessarily support.
You just keep going back and forth. You literally keep going back and forth. One instant you say you're not as pro-Black as me, therefore it should be called something else because you're with interracial marriage. And then
I think it should be called something different.
Pro-Black interracial marriage. I don't understand what point you're trying to make. Like, which one is it?
What I'm saying is I consider pro-Black to be doing everything to advance the experience of Black people, including being
okay. Then think about it. Stop jumping
Hold
back and forth.
Hold on, listen. So what I'm saying is, I consider myself pro-Black because I do all of these things and I am in a relationship with a Black woman. In the event that somebody does all of these things but is not with a Black woman, I don't consider them to be pro-Black like me. That's what I'm saying.
Me.
All I'm saying is, I agree with you as far as up until the point where it becomes the not pro-black as me, because it's just pro-black. Because as far as what the heart wanting what it wants, when we just leave, once we just accept that for what it is, if your heart amongst your travels decides to, if you want this woman and y'all end up having love for each other, if you were to cut that off, you would be a fool. And then that doesn't automatically make you not as pro-black as the next person, because you did initially,
Right.
or you were intending on seeking out a black woman. You just didn't. That's just not what came across you at the time period, or whatever the case may be. So that's the only part where I disagree, is the not as pro-black. Because you're not pro-black at all if you choose not to date.